Hi everyone, Comic Reviewer here. This time reviewing issue 9 of Beast Wars Transformers IDW comic review. Now, as you know, the more recent Beast Wars IDW comic series is meant to be more of a clean slate and a more fresher version of the Beast Wars comic books and TV series. And the cover mainly has Black Arachnia pinning down Terrasol, with the other Predacons cheering her on. And the story mainly starts off with Megatron and their forces celebrating, with Megatron saying, "Celebrate, Predacons! Celebrate the expansion of our forces!" It was Tyrantus who had foresight to target the maximum Predaforms and rewrite their code to make them Predacons. And he even talks about how he kept it to himself and that, and does kind of suspect something suspicious about it, which Tyrantus only says, yes, and pretty much plan to grab their new recruits, and plan to one day rule Cybertron and make the council and that respect him. But of course, we see how Tyrantus points out that not all the protoforms were reformatted, as well as the energon radiation will make it difficult to find them. But Megatron reassures that it's not a problem, and that eventually with their sort of new Predacon recruits will cause the Maximals to kind of hold back their punches, and those their shields will eventually go down and will destroy them. And of course, we see how Terrasol's not happy, saying, "I'm starting to think it would have been easier if we just travelled back in time to destroy our enemies before they were even brought online." But of course, unlike the Beast Wars TV series, Megatron is a bit more cautious about changing the timeline and knows the potential consequences of what it can do. And of course, they mainly still need Terrasol and Waspinator to go out looking for the other protoforms. And Bracknia points out that the protoforms have crash landed near the Maximal ship, but of course, we see how once Terrasol complains, Black Arachnia pins him down and points out it was the only location she knew was possible at the time. And of course, we see how Skold says, "That was great! You know, I bet if we worked together, we could find more parts than they could." But of course, Black Arachnia scolds her and says that the Flyers have a more easy advantage. But of course, we see Skold being made small of, and even go out to look out for the protoforms. Skold tries to reassure her that it's much easier for her to sort of stay by and do some maintenance. But we see Skold deciding to go out and decide to take a swim in the river to kind of convert her energy. And in doing so, finds one of the protoforms, which ends up being activated and lets out an old character known as Razorbeast, saying, "I'm free! Huh. It would have taken forever to get out of there on my own, maybe longer. Thanks, friend, I owe you one." And of course, we see how the Valk finds it weird how one of them have kind of emerged from the pods, and of course want to do some experimentations, and decides to let out the Iron Wolves from a planet they took from. And of course, plan to do their observation on these two Transformers. And we see how Razorbeast wants to get to know Skold, and even wants to know her story. Of course, showing a possible friendship. And Razorbeast says, "Tell me about yourself, Skold. You're literally the only friend I have. I'd like to get to know you. Did you always want to explore other worlds?" And of course, we see Skold saying, "No, I wanted to be an artist." And we see how back at Icon, Skold was amazed by the artworks, but other Maximals mocked and ridiculed her for her interests, saying, "What do you think you're doing here? Here, a Predacon can't possibly appreciate art. Shouldn't you be in a mine somewhere, or a gladiator pit?" And of course is made small of. So Megatron wants to recruit her knowing she's been disrespected. But suddenly we see how they get attacked by Iron Wolves, which Skold finds it weird, as they're never seen anywhere but Pervera. And we see how Skold says, in that case, let's make them regret interrupting your story. And of course, takes down the Iron Wolves. And we see how Skold tries to tell Razor Beast to retreat, but doesn't want to abandon her. But of course, ends up getting attacked by the Iron Wolves. And Skold says, Razor Beast, get off me! And of course, pins down all the Iron Wolves, taking them out. And just as one's about to escape, Skold crushes it into pieces, primal style. And we see the Vox saying, well, so much for the only pack of Iron Wolves this side of the Doben Galaxy. Are you too pleased with the result? I am. I've never heard of behaviour like this in a Cybertronian. They're literally the only to their castle. And of course, we see how they still want to do more experiments. And we see how Skold sees that Razor Beast is badly damaged and needs to be taken for medical attention. And we see how Skold realises that she can't take him back to the Predacon base, knowing Megatron and Tarantulas wouldn't want her to bring a Maximal back. So does the only logical reason, bringing him to the Maximals. And of course, we see how Dinobot says, Alright, you've got our attention. What do you want, Skold? I don't want to talk to you, Tria. And then talk to me. I'm in charge here. And we see how Skold wants to bring back Razor Beast to the Maximals, and was fighting by her side until being attacked by Iron Wolves. Which Dinobot says, Iron Wolves? I hate this planet! And Skold points out that she wants to give Razor Beast a chance to be with the Maximals and back to his own kind. And we see how Dinobot reassures Skold that she can still join the Maximals and did what he did when realising Megatron's faults. But Skold points out that he's not going to abandon the Decepticons, leaving Dinobot to say, Be careful what you wish for, Skold. Next time, you will be sooner than you think. And this is the story. And next issue will have the Maximals strike back. And this is the story. So issue 9 is actually pretty good. I think what's interesting is you can tell the writers are taking a break from using Tigatron as the first Maximal Protoform, but instead going with Razor Beast. And I think that does work. And I know that Razor Beast was also in the Beast Wars Gathering comic book series, and it's nice to see a more change on Skold's storyline than putting her in the sidelines. So I think this issue deserves a thumbs up. Still good, and still alright. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.